Hello, and welcome to another episode of Enchanting Economics in New Mexico. This podcast is a production of Bieber, the recognized expert in socioeconomic data for the state of New Mexico. Your hosts, as always, are myself, Rayanne McKernan, alongside Sarun Lytle. Joining us today is Ji Huang, Economist Supervisor for the Income Support Division at New Mexico's Human Resources Department. Ji, thanks so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk with us.
Thank you, Rayanne. Thank you, Sarun. It's nice to be here.
So let's start off by calling attention to the Human Services Department. I think it's important to make sure that people know the HSD provides services and benefits to more than 1 million New Mexicans through several of its programs. For instance, there's the Medicaid program, the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, SNAP, the Child Support Program, and then there are several behavioral health services. And your mission for your department is to help minimize or eliminate poverty statewide by making certain these services are there for eligible low-income individuals and families. Did I get that correct?
Yes, but there is a bit more. A lot of the things that we do at HSD does involve mitigating poverty, but we do have a very specific mission statement that I'd like to share with the listeners. So the mission of the New Mexico Human Services Department is to transform lives. Working with our partners, we design and deliver innovative, high-quality health and human services that improve the security and promote independence for New Mexicans in their communities. And we have 4 specific goals that pertain to this mission. The first one is to improve the value and range of services we provide to ensure that every qualified New Mexican receives timely and accurate benefits. The second goal is to create effective, transparent communication to enhance the public trust. And that involves publicizing data and sharing other types of analyses with the public. The third goal is successfully implementing technology to give customers and staff the best and most convenient access to services and information. And the last is to promote an environment of mutual respect, trust, and open communication for staff to grow and reach our professional goals.
Thanks. In a state such as New Mexico, where we have a high poverty rate and a large number of residents relying on Medicaid, you already have an intense job. And then you add COVID-19, which forces the state to enact temporary closures, and more people wind up needing your services. How are you and your team managing through all of this?
Well, it really takes everyone at HSD working together at all levels. The public health orders did present some challenges for HSD in ensuring that benefits are delivered in a timely manner. So one of the changes that we implemented at HSD during the pandemic was a greater shift towards online and phone applications while still maintaining limited hours for curbside and face-to-face service. We did this in order to primarily abide by the public health order. But we did find out after having implemented this kind of touchless service that clients actually prefer using our online system for various reasons, of course. Another change that we implemented during the pandemic was a transition to employee remote working. Certainly protecting our employees is also a priority, as well as protecting our clients. Right now, every HSD employee has the capability to work remotely, which allows us to deliver our services while making sure that these services are received by our clients in a timely manner without any significant disruptions. So those are the 2 main changes that we implemented that has allowed us to continue doing what we do.
Nice. And since you're an economist, we have to talk data. What kinds of data does HSD use on a regular basis, especially during the pandemic? And who supplies the data? And has the need for data changed with COVID-19? How does the data inform decisions your department makes? And are any of your analyses available to the public?
Okay, so So who supplies the data? Well, much of our data is actually housed in our database. So we have direct access to our data concerning enrollment and eligibility. Some of our financial data is compiled through our contractor, but we also have access to that data to help us to evaluate our financial situation. But I guess the two data that I just mentioned, enrollment and financials or expenditures, are data that we closely monitor, not just during the pandemic, but throughout any, situation. It's done regularly. The enrollment data provides us with an indication of the demand for our services, and the expenditure data provides the cost of those services. And as you might imagine, given the nature of the programs that we manage and administer, the data generally runs counter-cyclical to economic conditions, but it can also be influenced by policy. So, for example, during the pandemic, application renewal periods were extended to help clients avoid those face-to-face contact during, and to reduce the spread of COVID-19. But extending these renewal periods caused a temporary increase in enrollment and the accompanying expenditures because individuals were not reevaluated for their eligibility. Also, in April 2020, the USDA Food and Nutrition Service increased benefits to SNAP households, which also caused an increase in expenditures. So both situations required some reevaluation of the budget, and this data and analysis was used by HSD leaders in their requests for additional funding from legislatures. Now, as far as the data and analysis available to the public, our website includes a whole lot of data, an assortment of data and metrics, because one of our goals is to be transparent about what we do and how we make our decisions. So we have, for example, a webpage on our website called HSD Scorecard, which includes a variety of metrics that we follow, monitor, and evaluate, and use to inform our decisions to meet our strategic goals. We also have the monthly statistical report, which shows a more detailed presentation of the data regarding application timeliness and dispositions. By dispositions, I mean whether an application was approved, denied. And we also have our second volume of the HSD Data Book, which is a compilation of socioeconomic and program-related data. And that book is published annually.
And it's free?
And it's absolutely free. We don't charge any money for access to that data, although sometimes we may have to pay money ourselves.
Yeah. Isn't that always the way it goes?
Yes, it's available on our website. Please feel free to check out our website and have a look at this data.
Yeah, I will link this in the description of the episode. There will be a link to HSD's website. So please check out the description and follow the link there. Is there anything in the data that has surprised you during the pandemic, whether it be good or bad?
To some degree, I wasn't surprised that we would, see an increase in demand for services as we saw the pandemic impacting the economy through all the closures. And many of our clients do work in those hourly paid jobs in the service sector. So many of them lost their jobs, but the extent of the impact that it had on our clients was surprising. The total household enrollment in the SNAP program, which used to be called food stamps, over February 2020 and February 21, it increased by 75,000 individuals. So we had 75,000 more New Mexicans who were receiving SNAP benefits. And those same expenditures during the same period increased by 80%, which is substantial. So again, we know that the economic recession resulting from the pandemic had caused a significant number of New Mexicans, especially those who are in the service sector, to lose their jobs and fall into poverty. And while I think it's great that And I'm proud to be part of HSD, where we were able to facilitate aid and assistance to New Mexicans during this time of need. But just the sheer volume of participation during this time kind of highlights how pervasive the need continues to be.
Yeah. Is there anything that you've come across that people might not realize the state is dealing with now that we're over a year into this pandemic?
Well, I think, it has been over a year, and it seems like we are seeing some signs that the situation is getting better. We do keep an eye on the pandemic situation because we realize that there is a tie to, people, the economy and people needing assistance. But I think one thing maybe we should keep in mind is that the pandemic pushed some people into poverty and others deeper into poverty. And although we do see certain sectors recovering, that it may not be, the recovery may not be at the same rate for these individuals who are in poverty. It may take some time for them to get back to being self-sufficient again. And that studies have shown that recovery for low-income families and even like low-income states like New Mexico tend to recover a little slower than perhaps other wealthier states, that we may take a little longer, that the economic impact, the negative economic impact tends to linger on a little longer.
I know that the data you have is very essential to states' policymakers. What would you like them to know about the work that you do?
Well, the data that we collect, use, and publish, they are, they reflect individuals and families. And I think sometimes we can be seen as sort of a safety net for people. But I think people should know that our goal is not to encourage dependence on our programs. Our goal is to help people from falling into the abyss of total destitution, but our goal is not to keep them in the program. And I think truly helping people out of poverty, which is such a insidious and pervasive, thing that's going on all over the world, not just in New Mexico, but for us, it'll take a lot more than what HSD can do alone, right? That it's going to require a larger effort through the collaboration with local leaders, state legislatures, other agencies, and our federal partners.
Yeah. Saroon, do you have anything you want to ask?
Yeah, are you also working, or do you know the data about the vaccines, how much New Mexicans have been vaccinated, or when do we expect, a significant portion to be vaccinated?
I have seen some data. There is a DOH website that shows all of that data. I believe we are approaching maybe 50% or so that individual New Mexicans have gotten at least one vaccine shot. I have participated in helping with that response as I work for Dr. David's Grace. But I think we are definitely on our way. I believe New Mexico, last time I heard, New Mexico is leading the nation in vaccinations. So that's good news.
Yeah, excellent news. And is there anything else that you would like to make sure that we, the New Mexican public know?
Well, I can't think of anything particular except that to the listeners, if you or anyone is in need, they can apply online or call our Consolidated Customer Call Center by going to www.yes.state.nm.us or 1-800-283-4465.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for taking time out to talk to us today. We really appreciate it. This was really informative. I think that wraps it up for us here at Enchanting Economics in New Mexico. Don't forget to check us out at Beber, that's bber.unm.edu, or on social media. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn under @UNMBeber. Thanks for listening, everyone.